I wonder how people would feel if everything they do is right. They wouldn't like it. For instance, I'm with my family playing a card game because that's what they feel like doing on a beautiful day that rained this morning. I want to work on helping the world I live in. And I would like to do that by helping my parents do like healthy practices and my brother do healthy practices instead of playing cards and listening to it's not even going to be about what they're listening to because I'm not trying to nitpick it at every moment of every day. People are learning and they're developing the way they're going to develop. But when it comes to stuff like I'm sitting there playing cards and the only conversation is about the cards itself. Oh, I almost had double this. Oh, I almost had a run. Almost I had 6 points or something. And it's like, ooh, I can't do this for very long. And then my brother puts on his music. The first one's like, I never knew you could pray like that, like, because I've been watching you. Dad ain't that cool. And I don't get to see my kids and learn my rules and do my prayers like daddy and work hard like daddy and go to school like daddy. That's just keeping you in a mind frame so that you listen to what you're instructed to do. Think about it deeply enough. Don't get offended. Think about the fact that if you didn't have a daddy telling you what to do, you wouldn't know what to do. At least that's what they were trying to get to in that song. He grew up like his daddy. Well, let's just tell you that what your daddy's doing isn't necessarily what you should be doing because your daddy's a tough guy who goes hunting and fixing his truck and working at the factory pumping out pollution and, whatever kind of silly job he's doing. Your daddy's job means jack shit, junior. So really, actually, you don't want to grow up like daddy. You don't want to grow up like mommy either because mommy these days are pretty, materialistic usually. They want things for themselves. It doesn't matter if they're businessy. It doesn't matter if they're in the ghetto. They want stuff for themselves. And people don't want to admit that. So if I was wrong, people would say something. The reason that people aren't saying anything is because I'm so right, nobody wants to agree with me because they don't have the balls to do it. And I'm not saying it because I think anything great about myself. I'm just sick of being around people. The next song that comes on is, I got a cold beer calling my name. If you're an adult and you gotta have a cold beer calling your name because you're so stressed out from the life that you choose to live, then you're a little fucking boy. Quit drinking your cold beer, doofus. And the other song, like Mary Go Round, like my brother's is hooked on Mary. Hooked on Mary. Oh yeah, it's an addiction. He's hooked on smoking grass, something out in the ground that grows. But what about the person singing? I bet she's hooked on eating down home cow meat. And she's the pretty lady who sings about Mary Go Round in this crazy world that it is, but doesn't understand that she's just as much of a part of it as anyone else. If you're a country singer and you're singing about a cookout with meat, you are actually promoting an animal sacrifice ritual. Every time you sell food that's animal, every time you eat food that's an animal, you are basically condoning, you are performing an animal sacrifice ritual. And if you're okay with that, then keep eating the meat. When you die, you'll understand. But right now, you don't want to understand because your ego's in the way. And when people say that, they're like, oh, I heard that kind of stuff on some Buddha thing. I'm like, I am Buddha. I remember telling millions of people this. How would you feel if you felt this way? You wouldn't feel good, especially when everything you say is right and nobody listens to it. I haven't had one person disagree with me. They just go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they just keep doing what they're doing. Like, it's like talking to a television, telling it to turn off without hitting any buttons. Please turn off. Why don't you turn off? The show that you have on is actually really bad. You should turn off. And TV's like, yeah, well, but that's what they want me to do. So everyone else is just alive, doing what people want them to do. Casually saying, I'm just trying to help people because they shouldn't put this poison in their body. They shouldn't eat that. It's about your health. You got to move around. And while I'm saying that to my brother, who I love very much, he sort of looks over to me every maybe 10 seconds and goes, yeah, yeah, because he's too busy looking on his phone. And I'm pouring my heart out, talking to him about my family members and people I care about. And he's busy gambling on his phone going, yeah, oh yeah, and doesn't even hear what I'm saying. And if he did, he'd care. I would think that they'd care a little more to try to actually get involved with what I'm saying. Like, how would you feel if your own family doesn't take you seriously when the only person you know that's right is you? I can't meet another person who can actually speak sense, and I want to meet them. I'm actually saying, please, somebody come out of somewhere and show me that you have a brain. Please. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean a brain that fully functional, that works fully functionally. No? Anyway, I'm not trying to be nasty, but it's like, how would anyone else feel if they had this happen to them?